Hello, my name is Daniel Schirmer, and I'm speaking to you now from a small country in the Middle East, cornered by Europe, cornered by Africa, and the name of the country is Israel. And I want to talk to you about my life, about the life of every Israeli, and just make you open your eyes maybe to something completely different, a country like no other, which I think is very controversial. Everything that happens in Israel gets a lot of attention. And I've decided that when I'm doing my walk, I'm trying to do at least 2 hours walking per day. I will tell you about my thoughts. And if it is interesting for you, you can follow me. And my dream is that this very small, maybe unimportant move right now might lead to world peace, which is my dream for many years. And I thought about it. Why not try to succeed in my dream? Maybe because the dream is too big. And I think many people want to achieve this dream. Many people want to have peace. Also, unfortunately, it seems that many people are making a lot of money from actually waging a war. And war is very successful. Many people die. They sell a lot of weapons. And people are fearful and scared. And because they're scared and they're fearful, that's my steps on the background if you can hear. Well, and because people are very fearful, then there's a lot of money to be made in this business, which is called war. I am not looking for profit, and the profit that I am searching for is the profit of having a safe place in the world for my family, for my friends, and I think that's a very good goal. That's a great goal to set in your life, even though it's very hard. And you need to be a bit naive to believe in it. But that's what I've decided to do. I've decided to dream big. And I thought today the power of YouTube, Instagram, and the power of my phone has immense powers. And why not try? Try to talk to people about peace. Try to talk to people about God. Try to talk to people about some deeper things in life and not only deal with the shallow things which are at the end. Shopping and buying things is at the end a boring thing. So for a few hours a day, let's try and concentrate about nicer, bigger things like peace, like love, like the fact that, in my opinion, people in their base are pretty similar anywhere in the world. And English is not my natural language, but I've decided to practice my English, and speaking it will bring me to a higher level. And I think the world should speak in one language. I think it would solve so many problems in our lives if everybody speaks English. And of course, with AI now, which is amazing and I love it, you can translate anything to anything, but every language has thinking in it. And when you start to think in this language, it makes you also embrace the ideas of it easily. And I think English is the language today, which is the language of peace, which is the language of negotiations, which is the language of communication. It is also becoming, because of AI, I think, the language of computers. So computers will speak English. You don't need to learn to code, you need to learn English. Because coding will be done by speaking. And I think speaking is a very difficult task. We do not appreciate our incredible ability to speak, because speaking in a simple and clear way is not an easy task. It's actually very difficult to succeed to speak to people in a clear and simple way. I know this because I'm a lawyer, and my family used to be rabbis for 900 years in Germany. And then Hitler came to power. And my family, which believed in God dearly, said that we are protected by God and nothing bad will happen to us, except for one person in my family that said, no, we have to leave Germany because this man is terrible and human nature is very influential, and German people are very open. They will be brainwashed and they will kill all Jews. So we need to run away. And he ran to Israel, which was then a very hard country, very unadvanced, no weapons, no nothing, mainly desert country with no agriculture, no oil, no resources. The only thing was the idea that humans can form a group, and it's not exactly Jews. We will call ourselves Israelis, which are of course Jews. We are Jewish, but we will be something different, something new. Because historically, Jews never participated in war. Because every time a war was announced in history, let's say between England to France, then the Jews on one side said to France, we can't participate in the war because there are Jews on the other side. And that might be also one of the reasons that people hate the Jews, because we didn't take part in the wars. But when Jews came to Israel, we said, okay, this is different. We have to participate in the wars, and we have to establish an army, and we have to fight, and we have to buy land. And for that reason, in Israel, it is very big to buy your own apartment and to own real estate, which is also something that historically Jews did not do, because we were always a moving nation, a moving people, if you like, and we liked to go study abroad, understand other cultures, and of course study the Torah, study the Bible, which in my opinion is also, even if you are not religious to any religion, the stories teach you about the human problem, and I think also the human reflection of how to behave in a society, or what is important and what isn't important in a society. So I also wrote a book. It's called The Negotiation Bible, or The Negotiator Bible. In Hebrew it's called the Bible of Negotiation. And I think that you can learn a lot from the Bible stories. It doesn't matter if you believe in Jesus Christ, if you believe in Moses, if you believe in Muhammad. And you would see that in all religions, almost, the stories are pretty much aligned. And religion, historically, is a brand new thing. Because if you think Jesus Christ is only 2,000 years old, which is historically nothing, so did God not have kids before it, or did... Okay. With respect to religion, and I have a lot of respect to religions, the funny thing about religions is if you have beliefs in any religion, you don't treat other religions as viable or as logical, and you think that you are the only one who is right, and everybody else religions are wrong and should be terminated, or you are in a war with other religions. And if you are Muslim, then you hate America. And if you are American and you love Jesus Christ, you hate Muhammad, which is a very sad idea, because it's like a war is inevitable. It's like two companies that want to sell their products, and one will sell less if you believe in the other product. And in my opinion, that is something that we need to change. We have to change the way we look at religions. And religions should be looked at as a global idea, which is only a mirror of where we were born and who were our parents and our grandparents. And if they were one thing, then we feel a duty to fulfill their ideas, which is, of course, a bad idea, because we have to choose our own way, and we have to choose our own beliefs, and we have to choose our own future. And if we are just thinking about what other people want and what other people believe, and we are throwing away our lives and heading to a very bad place. So I don't want that for us. I don't want for us to live the lives that someone else told us to live, or to believe in what our ancestors believed. I think it's time for humans to think about themselves, to think about the human condition, to think about their own lives and the lives of the people around them. Look, people are playing soccer or football behind me. It happens all over the world. It doesn't matter your religion. People are playing football. Now I'm near the Luna Park, Tel Aviv Luna Park, the big one. And in front of me, I can show you. This is Tel Aviv. It's starting to look a bit like New York. A very tall skyline and towers all over. And this is actually pretty amazing, since, as I said, Israel started with basically nothing. The only thing that we had was the belief of the human mind, if you'd like. Our ability to think about ideas that can help humanity and contribute value, and then they can make money if we make or build a high-tech idea, or if we make an incredible thing, software which doesn't need oil or gas. It is only out of a human idea. Then we can sell and make money. So a lot of the high-tech success in Israel is from that. Also, I believe, as a labor law lawyer, that an interesting thing is why Israel has so much high-tech and it's so successful. And let's say in America, all the high-tech industry is very successful in Silicon Valley, but not in New York, for instance, or LA, which is weird, because I'm sure there are very smart people in LA and New York. So how come there's not such a successful high-tech company? Why? And the explanation is probably labor law, because labor law in Israel, new train, in Tel Aviv, they are building the trains now. So in Tel Aviv and in San Francisco, the courts are all about human freedom and human rights. And if you invented something for a company and you want to move to another company, of course, you are moving with the things that you know and the knowledge that you've acquired in that company. So in most places in the world, they say, well, the knowledge belongs to the company, and now you have to stop working for a few years, and only then can you join the new company. And of course, then you are worth much less if you didn't work for a while and you forgot all the things that you know. So in San Francisco and also in Israel, that has not been the way, and people are free to move to a competitor all the time, and that causes companies to steal workers and employees from side to side, and magically wealth grows. And that's also what I think about the human condition. When you are doing something hard, when you are doing something scary, your brain actually develops and you move yourself to another reality. You move yourself to another place in the universe because you are growing your mindset. There's going to be a show here in the park. This is the big Tel Aviv Park Icon, and there is going to be a concert, so they are practicing now. And you can see the stairs and the stage. Sounds good. And I came here so you can hear me a bit better, not to walk on the main road. And I'm trying to walk a lot, at least 15 kilometers. And also that's another thing that bothers me, is why in America, for instance, and in Europe, they invented different measurements for everything. Kilometers, miles, kilos, pounds, right wheel side drive, left wheel side drive. So these inventions are only customs, and they are making the world a harder place to move around, to survive, to understand. And our goal is to keep things simple and to think about how simple people are. So my favorite thing in the world is AI and playing with it. And I think we are like an AI, okay? Our brain or our thoughts can zoom into something and treat it as the most important thing in our lives and be concentrated on how to do that and only that. And that is something special, because most of the time we are I don't know where I should walk or where is the bicycle should go. Okay, I figured it out. Okay, so the thing is, we should talk or use our mind for usually one subject at a time, because it's hard for us to do multi things together at the same time. Also AI, which is of course what they're trying to develop now, is one AI that is good for every problem that you have and knows everything in every field, which is of course like a human being. We can do anything that we set our mind to and we concentrate on, and we study the subject and we become experts at that subject, and then we can teach that subject, we can micro zoom into that subject, and we can reach very deep insights on that subject because we are experts. And I would love to be an expert about different societies, and I would love to talk to people from different cultures, and I would like to confront their hate, because I believe that the reason people are taught, and we are taught, to hate each other or to fight with each other is of course not to look at what we can do and the effect that we have on our world, and we have to find someone else to blame. Okay, if we have someone to blame, then we can be together. We can uplift ourselves from our own judgment and judge someone else and blame him for the pain or the emotions that we feel, or the fact that maybe we don't love ourselves or we don't like our lives, and we say, okay, it's because of him. And if he is weak or he cannot answer for some reason, then we don't have a confrontation and we feel that we were right, and only thing we need to do is kill him, and then we will be happy, which is what every religious group think and try. A lot of Arab groups are now trying to kill Israel, which is kind of amazing. Iran is teaching the Houthi people hundreds, thousands kilometers away to shoot missiles and to hate Israel. That's their problem. People in Yemen, which are very poor, people in Iran, which are very poor. But what is their problem? Israel. We'll destroy Israel and everything will be wonderful. As you know, Hitler tried to convince the German nation once that if they killed the Jews, all their problems would go away and Germany will be a success, which of course wasn't. And it didn't work. They killed all the Jews. Some got away, but they killed 6 million Jews, and Hitler committed suicide. So that didn't work so well. But still, this notion that you can brainwash humans into hate and then making them find someone to blame makes them feel good. The only problem with that is that it doesn't work, because as long as you are telling someone else and blaming someone else for the things that you need to take responsibility on and improve, then it doesn't work, because in the end you will become a bigger loser and you will have bigger problems because you didn't change anything. You didn't take responsibility. You do not believe in yourself. And I love the story of Moses, where Moses sees God in the bush and God talks to him, which is a great moment in history, when God approaches you and talks to you. That's a lot of fun. And God says to Moses, well, you will go to Egypt and you will set our people free. And of course, like in any negotiations, what does Moses say? Moses says, no, I am not going to save our people because I'm the wrong guy for the job. I have a really bad tongue. I have heavy lips. I'm not a good talker. But this brings me to another belief, okay? Can God be wrong? Well, maybe God can be wrong, but of course the assumption is that God is not wrong. But the story teaches us that every time someone tries to negotiate anything with us, our first reaction is no. And Moses is the same. He says, no, you've got the wrong guy. It's like every salesperson in history should know that if he tries to sell anything, first he gets a no, which is a very necessary move into getting a yes. You cannot get a yes without getting a no first. And then confronting the no and making some magic, and then the no becomes a yes, but not before. You don't start anything and it's immediately a great success, and you get a yes and no problems asked. No, that's not the way it works. And the Bible teaches us this in this story. So God says, no problem. I know who I'm talking to. I know you don't speak very well, which is funny for a leader, because you would think that a leader needs to know how to speak. And the Bible teaches us also that in this story, if you just listen to the story, simple story, that you don't need to be a great speaker. You need to have a lot of courage. You need to believe that you can be a leader. And God says, you have a brother, his name is Aaron, he speaks very well, and he will talk for you. He will be your voice. He will be the one who speaks for you, and that's all you need to do that. And sure enough, Moses goes to Egypt and he tries to release the Israelites. And of course, what does Pharaoh say? Pharaoh says no. And God explains to Moses. He will say no 10 times. Don't worry about it. And every time that Pharaoh says no, something horrible happens to Egypt, which is to prove the power of God. But I believe the story is also a principle. Every Bible story or every religious story is also trying to teach us something about human interaction. Human interaction starts with a trial. Every time we meet someone, we talk to someone, we try to test his strength, to test his boundaries, to test his belief and the things that he believes in. How strong is his belief and how far is he willing to go to keep his belief. And the most important thing is to understand that we are all the same. So if I believe in any kind of God, then I cannot believe that one God is wrong and one God is right, because there is only one. Okay, and if there is only one, then I can't hate someone for believing in something else, because God made him believe in that also. So maybe God's will is for people to believe in whatever they want that makes them feel good at that time and place, but people can change their minds. People can change their beliefs. People can change their fears, and they can decide not to hate and not to kill someone else. And it's also a funny thing about religion: we always are not allowed to kill, but we can kill someone who doesn't believe in our religion or believes in something else. And that is, for me, very hard idea, because if the idea is that you cannot kill only because then someone will kill you, so it is logical to believe that any God doesn't want you to die, and for no price, for no reason. And so you have to decide for yourself that you will not kill anybody else. And if you really believe that, and you say, I will not kill anybody else, as long as he doesn't kill me. And that is the essence, or should be the essence, in my opinion, of any God. A God should give the idea that you are not allowed to kill anyone for any reason except for him coming to kill you. And today, in our world, with social media, people should take the power to themselves. For instance, I cannot believe that Russia is still trying to invade Ukraine. Okay, it's the third year Russia is trying to invade Ukraine for no reason whatsoever, and they will lose Russia eventually, because they are creating such power in Ukraine. Will lead eventually to Russia becoming very poor, miserable, and also in a very bad place. Bad marketing move. And Ukraine will become invincible. It will become the strongest country in Europe. This war is making them very powerful, which is, again, dangerous for Russia, in my opinion. And so it's also terrible that Iran is trying to convince so many people to kill Israel, because it's giving Israel so much attention, and it's becoming stronger and stronger. And so eventually, when someone has a lot of power, he uses that power, and usually not for any good thing. And that is why United States of America understood this after their civil war, and when they built their politics again, they decided to stop anybody from having too much power. So you always need two sides of the coin. You need courts, you need different jurisdictional buildings and powers, so they can stop any one side or any one person or any one building or any one person getting too much power and then making a place undemocratic. And why? Because Maybe it's better to not live in a democracy. It's certainly faster and easier, yes, but when you make a mistake, usually you can't come out of it. When you have a dictator and he's trying to take over things, if he's a bad dictator, which most people are in the end, then it leads to a very bad place. And we don't want that. We don't want to reach that very bad place. And that is why we want freedom. We want power to be between a lot of people. Same as money. We want money to be moving around freely. We want humans to move around freely. We want them to visit each other. We want to go to other countries and learn other ideas and look at how other people live in order to understand that hate is a very stupid thing. Hate is actually only coming from the fact that we don't know something. Anything that we are scared of and that we don't know a lot of, we hate. And that is a very logical reaction, except to when we understand that the fear is really ridiculous. It's really illogical, because people on the other side, most of them, don't really hate you. Those who do are those who were taught that you are the cause of their trouble, which is of course always a lie, because the only cause of your trouble, of any trouble, is yourself. Our mind stops us from achieving anything that we want, and our subconscious is telling us things that someone taught us which are wrong for us. And until we really take responsibility for every result in our lives, which is very hard to do actually, is to understand that in order to change something on the outside, we first need to change something in the inside. We have to take responsibility of ourselves, and we have to decide what we don't like in ourselves and what are we going to change. And only then, and that's like a miracle, which is like finding God, then change comes, almost in a magical way, like a magician threw his wand, like Moses threw his wand in front of Pharaoh, and his snake ate all the other wands, the other snakes of the Pharaoh magicians. And that is really amazing if you think about it, because to think about it, that first a change must come from inside. It has to come out of our soul, which is something that AI doesn't have, of course, or a computer doesn't have a soul or a physical, spiritual being. And the spiritual being is actually alike in all nations. The Arabs, the Jews, the Christian, the Chinese. And if you were born in India, then you have a really strong belief in an 8-armed blue elephant. And if you were born in Iran, you believe in Muhammad. And you believe in a war against the Europeans and Americans and Israel and the Western society, which is a bit sad, because of course Europeans and Israelites and United States are much more successful, and people are much happier there than they are in Iran, or they are in a lot of places in the world where they have no influence on their lives or something to look forward to. They are very sad people. They are not happy people. They are miserable. They are poor. But if they are in one of these countries, they have a lot of hope. And hope is very important, because then you believe that you can learn something new, and then you can change, and then you can change your life. And if you can change your life, you can be one day happier, which is, I think, the only important thing that you can do in your life, is to try to be happier. So with that, I will see you in the next one. See you soon.